Just as the sun has risen, so should your mind and your heart above all things, above anything, have courage. Because it takes courage to do the things that you're wanting to do in life. It takes courage to be who you really are. And more importantly, courage is present in the times of vulnerability. So we're on day number 15 of our day journey, 30-day journey with vulnerability. Day number 15 is the halfway mark, halfway there. But it's not about the joy of finishing. It's about the joy of still being in the fight. It's about the joy of still maintaining the commitment. It's about the joy of still being present. So many distractions have come. So many options to quit have come. So many situations have come where it just pulls on the will to do. But we're still here, still pressing. We are here on day 15. So today we're going to be talking about a topic, and this topic is awareness. Awareness. Awareness means to have knowledge of or perception of a situation or a fact. To have knowledge of or perception on a situation or fact. This conversation is going to be super important. And the reason why, because through all the application of vulnerability as it relates to just simply being vulnerable, having that courage to show up, dealing with shame that's within us, dealing with past hurt, pains, or traumas, just dealing with who we are in this journey called life. Even during this time period that we find ourselves in, it's so important to have this sense of awareness. And if we're not paying attention to the importance of awareness, then you're going to find yourself in situations where other people's perceptions will define who you are. Other people's perceptions will define who you are and what you believe in. So true. So awareness has a large part in the self-identification of who you are, right? And if you lack awareness, then again, you're going to forfeit who you really are to someone else's perception. And that can be a traumatic thing, especially if you find yourself forfeiting in a situation where it's unpleasant, uncomfortable, and really uncertain. A lot of people have experienced different pains in their childhood, such as molestation, abandonment, abuse, right? And because there was a lack of awareness, lack of paying attention to, and there was a replacement of temporary things to pacify the feelings, then these feelings or these situations tend to evolve into other things. The way you think, the way you act, the way you behave. So if you found yourself in a situation, let's say, for instance, your parents were divorced and at an early age, and you experienced that, and maybe you didn't know how to express yourself, but you suppressed it, and you didn't take the time to be aware of what you were feeling, especially at that age, a young age. Sometimes it's challenging to do so, but you didn't have that guidance on how to be aware of yourself and what you were thinking and what you're feeling. Oftentimes what happens is that lack of awareness becomes adopted by someone else's perception. Yeah, it happens to everybody growing up. Being molested, it happens to everybody growing up. Just suck it up, it'll be cool. Yeah, people get divorces, right? Your parents get divorced, don't worry about it, just be cool, suck it up. Or you being molested, right? It happens, don't worry about it, don't pay attention to it. It's too traumatic to focus on or to be aware of. You see, these things tend to evolve within us, and what happens is, if you don't pay attention to the seeds that are planted into you, especially at a young age, it will grow. And I know this may seem like a term that is so foreign to some people, but if you have that consciousness, that awareness, right, and you understand what it means to have something planted in you, placed in you, happen to you, and that it will grow out of you, right? Not in a physical format, but it will grow in the way that you feel about people. You know, maybe you feel edgy, or you feel like you have the sense of the chip on your shoulder, this attitude. It's because you didn't pay attention, or you weren't aware of what was happening to you, or being able to process the information that was happening within you, right? That's one example. Or maybe it can happen from a developmental standpoint, from where you're at in life right now, because you didn't, because you feel insecure about yourself. There may be some areas you don't want to be aware of that are happening within you, right? This lack of will to connect or be social with people, or this lack of will, if you will, the sense of motivation to be better at what you do, because you feel powerlessness. Like, I'm not worth it anyway, so I'm not going to try to improve myself. Why would I try to do that? Everybody's doing that. Everybody's on this little new hip thing of self-development, all this different things. I'm not going to do that. Keep it for them. Whatever. Sense of suppression. Listen, let me keep it really real with you. When it comes to understanding self, that alone is the first step in self-development, understanding self. So why wouldn't you want to be aware of yourself? And I'm only speaking in a passionate sense because it's so important. Now, I do understand that some people don't have the tools. I do understand that some people may not be in a mental state right now. Or I do understand that maybe it's not the trend, right? Or it's not cool in the environment in which you are in. Or maybe it's something you feel like you don't need because of the sense of pride. I got it all. Whatever the case might be, all of us can benefit from slowing down and being more aware. All of us, hands down. No matter who you are in this life right now, there's a major benefit of being aware of what's going on in the context of yourself. It's super beneficial. Let's talk about some of those benefits. The first thing is you get to know yourself. Who better to know but than you? Why do you get so anxious in certain moments? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about what are your triggers? Have you ever considered that? Have you ever been aware, right? Have you been aware why you're so sexually active? Have you ever been aware why you don't connect with people and you're antisocial? Have you ever considered maybe why you're insecure, feel like you're not enough? Have you ever considered maybe why you're not aware of why you're not making choices to improve yourself and supplementing that with the perceptions of what other people have told you? Some people are stuck in a rut. They're making bad decisions and hurting themselves. I'm not even talking about the context of hurting other people because you haven't got to that place yet. But you're hurting yourself. You're sabotaging yourself by making these decisions to hate people, to be so harmfully negative towards somebody else. That's a self-sabotage. That's self-sabotage right there. And you're supplementing the mindset of, well, it don't matter. They're doing it to me, or they don't want to grow. They don't want to improve, or they know better. Why they want to hurt me? All this sense of them. Putting more awareness on what they're doing to you versus on what's happening within you. Vulnerability gives you accessibility into yourself, and it only benefits you if you're present, if you're aware. Because vulnerability does happen if you're not aware. Trust and believe that. Trust and believe that. You can expose yourself to people, to things, to situation, and not even be conscious of what's happening. Ingesting people's words, ingesting certain behaviors, going out, connecting, having sex with a bunch of people, going out, connecting, listening to conversations that you don't need to be listening to, going out, connecting, listening to things that are destroying your consciousness and putting you at a halt. This awareness is critical. You ought to slow down and to consider what's happening. I know it takes courage. I know sometimes it's hard to pay attention to the pain that's happening on the inside. I know sometimes there's a sense of pride to ignore your behaviors because you're achieving certain results that you feel are worth it. Your results aren't always the best thing. What's happening in you is the most important thing. Because if you're not aware, then you're going to be adopting other people's perceptions, beliefs. You're not going to know who you are. There was this young boy, 5 years old. Every morning he would get up and put on a red cape. He would tie it around his neck. He'd put it on. And he would run down the hallway. And he would turn around and see how the cape was fluttering. And he felt like he was Superman. In his mind and his awareness, he was Superman. And every morning he would get up and run down the hallway. And he would run down past his brother and sister's bedroom, and he would just watch the cape blow. In his mind, he felt like he had the power, and he self-identified himself as Superman. And what happened is his father started to pay attention to his behaviors. And he started to question whether or not his son was believing more in being Superman than being himself. His father started to pay attention to him. And he started to realize his son could only speak when he had his cape on. His father started to pay attention and started to realize that his son only seemed to be confident when he had his cape on. You see, when he took his cape off, there was stress. When he took his cape off, there was no motivation. His son didn't want to do much. As a matter of fact, his son used to wear his cape to school. That was the only time he felt like he was able to learn. He only felt special in in being someone else rather than being himself. So because his father loved him, his father waited to a moment to be able to impact his child's life. And I'll tell you exactly what his father did. You see, there was a gathering at his house. He had all his relatives there. Everybody was sitting around on a couch, laughing. But his mother was in a recliner, sitting back. See, she was sad. His mother was dealing with depression. And his mother every day would just sit on this recliner, and you see slow tears. And she was just, her hands were just pressing against each other because that's how she was dealing with her stress. Everybody else is laughing, having a great time, but his mother would be just drifted off into whatever mental space his mother was at. And you see, at some point, the son only felt comfortable to be around his mom when he had his cape on. And so that day, while everybody was downstairs, his son woke up from a nap, put his cape on, ran downstairs, stood in the middle of everybody. Felt confident. His father walked up to him, said, "Son, come here. Just come here for a second." He said, "Yes, Dad." He looked at his son in his eye, and his son looked at him in his eye. He said, "Son, I understand how bad you want to be Superman. And I understand that Superman has these great powers. And I understand why you're so confident when you have your cape on, because being someone else sometimes can make you feel good. I understand that, son. I completely understand that. But let me tell you something. There's something special in you that you're not paying attention to, that you're not aware of." He said, "Dad, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Dad? I need my cape. My cape is the only thing that I use every single day. It protects me. You see, I don't have to be vulnerable because I have my cape on." Son, trust me on this. There's something I want to tell you, that you have something in you. "Dad, no, don't tell me to take off my cape." The son is fighting his dad, and he's fighting to keep on a cape, fighting to keep on something he's not. He says, "Son, stop, come here. Just listen." So his son took a deep breath, and in a moment he became aware and started to pay attention to what his father was saying. He said, "I want you to take your cape off. I want you to go over to your mother, and I want you to hug her around the neck and kiss her on the cheek, and watch what type of powers you have." He said, "But Dad, Mom only likes it when I have my cape on. I only know that because she doesn't bother me. And she only likes my cape on." He said, "Son, just trust me." So, son took a deep breath, took off his cape, laid it on the floor. He said, "Dad, are you sure?" He said, "Trust me. I want you to be aware of what happens to your mom, and I also want you to be aware of how it makes you feel." He said, "Okay, Dad." Takes a deep breath. He runs up to his mom, grabs her, hugs her around the neck. This is his real hug. He doesn't have a cape on. This is his arms around his mom's neck. And he kisses her on the cheek. A tear comes from his mom's eyes. A smile illuminates from his mom. And she just uncontrollably starts to hug him back and says, "Thank you so much, babies. Thank you so much. You don't know how much that means to me." The little boy was in shock that he was enough. His authentic love, his authentic connection, his choice to be aware that he was enough impacted someone else. My question to you is, when are you going to take off your cape? When are you going to realize you're enough? That's a hard thing to do, because I know you deal with pain, that your cape protects you because you've told yourself it's too hard to deal with other people and show what's really on the inside because I'll be rejected. Trust me. Just try it. And even if they don't receive you, you're still enough. You alone are enough. You don't need the cape you've been wearing. You can impact lives. You can impact your own life. You see, from that moment on, that little boy never wore that cape again. He strutted around and was okay with being himself. He started to talk to people more, and he saw the responses he was getting, first and foremost, from within himself. He started to appreciate himself. Appreciation. You see, appreciation is the lever that gives you access to be presently yourself. When you start to appreciate yourself, you become more presently aware of who you are. I hope, I pray, I know, I believe that this is going to help impact you. Be aware of who you are and have the courage to show up. Day number 15, out of the door, out of here. But we're still here together in this journey with vulnerability. You guys stay blessed. Continue to create that clarity in your life. Continue to break down these barriers that's preventing you from connecting with other people. More importantly, continue to shatter those barriers piece by piece, brick by brick. That's allowing you to be aware of what's happening on the inside of you. Because the more that you're aware, the more that you can identify. And once you can start to identify, then you can start to make the necessary changes. Or you could go get resources, or you can help get other people that you trust to help you manage through what's happening on the inside of you. Now that's true leadership, to lead from within and to give out. You gotta stay blessed.